Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're doing another mock draft, and I think this is going to be my final mock draft before free agency. Just because I don't want to keep on being. I don't want to be repetitive, and I want to limit hypotheticals. And also, just a few words about like mock drafts. None of the mock drafts from your favorite analysts or whatever, uh, they're not set in stone at all. They're all just like the rest of us, hypotheticals. And just because somebody doesn't favor your team doesn't mean you have to discredit their whole entire career. Now, if it's a terrible mock draft all around, that's a different story. And also, with the combine, I don't know if I'll be going over the combine. Maybe some guys that if they do, maybe I'll go over some combine uh, standouts per se. Maybe like the fastest 40 time, best bench press or something like that. Just something fun. But let's get into this. The Jaguars. I'm gonna say this. It's kind of set in stone for me at least that they should go with offensive tackle. Uh, Doug Peterson, offensive guy, got to protect Trevor Lawrence. That's all you really need to say. Now with two at the Lions, I think that Aiden Hutchinson is the best player. I don't know why they would pass up on him. I've seen them possibly taking. I've seen like some mock drafts taking quarterback, and I definitely don't. I don't think he's. I don't think the Lions are going to take quarterback. I think they should probably look for that next year, and then Jared Goff's cap hit is going to be way less. At three, I know that there are a lot of reports about Kayvon Thibodeau falling to maybe even the Giant, or like reports that he's gonna fall, and then mock drafts where he's actually falling to the Giants. But I don't know. I don't really see that. I just don't see that happening. We've seen maybe if something does come out with him where his physicals are not good, but his physicals are going to be good. He's such an athletic player, and even with the film on hand, with some of these like with the major film watchers, Kayvon Thibodeau was projected the number one pick throughout the entire draft, and he might be affected by prospect fatigue, but he's got to be in the top five, and I think that the Texans would go for him. Now with the Jets at four, I made a video about this, how Ike Mekwanu is an almost perfect prospect, and if you miss out on the first two edge rushers, then you got to go with Ike Mekwanu at four. You could move him to guard, or or he could play tackle. If you end up moving one of your tackles, which I don't think they will. The Giants at five, I think that if the top tackles and the top edges are off, you could go with someone like Kyle Hamilton. I don't think Kyle Hamilton falls out of at least the top. I don't even think he falls out of the top five. I don't think he falls out of the top seven at all either. Just because I've been calling him a center field prospect, and that accurately describes him. Extreme, great ball skills, good in the run defense. With the Panthers at six, it's offensive tackle or quarterback, but I'm gonna do a little bit of a switcheroo. I'm gonna go with Malik Willis at six. I think that I'm gonna do a mock draft. This mock draft hopefully will be more of a if quarterbacks go high mock draft, more like, just so that I can change it up a bit and keep it fresh. Now with the Giants at seven, they would go with the best offensive tackle available, Charles Cross, extremely good in pass pro. Got to protect Daniel Jones, to hopefully so that he can hopefully maybe do well this year, limit the turnovers. They didn't pick up. The Giants did not pick up his first year option or his fifth year option, so we'll have to see if he does well and does earn an extension. With the Falcons at eight, I think this is edge. You just cut one of your edge rush, Dante Fowler Jr. Sorry about that. You just cut Fowler Jr. and I think this is edge. They don't really have much at edge. This could be receiver pick if you want. This could be receiver if receivers go early, because I think Calvin Ridley is going to be on the move this offseason. Broncos at 9. I think this is once again another edge pick, or a secondary pick. but I think David Ajabo or Trayvon Walker goes in this position. And I would go with Trayvon Walker. He's been rising up boards. I'm calling him almost the Micah Parsons. I wouldn't call him the Micah Parsons of this draft, but he reminds me of a little bit of Micah Parsons in the fact that he's athletic and can play. He can play all roles of a linebacker. The Jets at 10. I'm surprisingly starting to lean more of a bit secondary right now. I've seen the Jets get mocked receiver a lot, and I've been mocking the Jets receiver, but but just for me, Sauce Gardner is cornerback one. He is. I know this says he's 6'2", 188, but he's measured in at, or one measurement says he's 6'3", 200 pounds, and the way he moves and how quick he is and how good he is in coverage. If the Jets don't address cornerback or they don't get a CB1 in free agency, I could see them taking cornerback in the draft, especially at maybe pick 10. The Commanders are back, or the Commanders are up, and for this pick, it's quarter. For me, it got to be quarterback. I'm switching up a little bit. Got to move up. Got to move up. Or I'm bringing quarterbacks up just to keep it fresh. So I think it's Matt Corral or Kenny Pickett, and for me, Kenny Pickett is better than Matt Corral. Matt Corral's coming off of an injury. I think it was the Sugar Bowl, where he got injured, some bowl game. So that's what for him. He did get injured, and but I still think that Kenny Pickett, who has who has high rotations and good ball speed that he showed at the Senior Bowl. Vikings, this is secondary, and I think Derek Stingley is the next best. Had a bit of a weird career at LSU. He was insane his freshman year, and the next 2 years were rattled by injuries, and he had some pretty bad games, especially notably against Devontae Smith, in that LSU Alabama game. It was week 3 or 4 or something in the college football. 13, the Browns. This is receiver. I think that they should go with receiver. I don't know what the Browns fans think themselves, but you traded Odell Beckham away. You have Jarvis Landry and Donovan Peoples-Jones at receiver 1 and 2, I'm pretty sure. So it's either Traylon Burks, Garrett Wilson, Jameson Williams, and a lot of people are saying that Garrett Wilson is their receiver 1 or Traylon Burks, but I would think that they go with Garrett Wilson, especially in that style of offense. The Ravens, interior offensive line, interior defensive line. For me, I would rather them take one of the more flexible players in center, but I think that they're going to take center. I think that they could take center more than defensive line, because it's either they take Jordan Davis, which I've mocked to them earlier, or they take interior offensive line. And I think that where they're right now, they should be trying to make that offense as good as possible, while they should address defense and free agency, because this is a good defensive tackle free agency. So I will say that. The Eagles set up pretty nicely over here. First, you're going to go with David Ajabo, the next best edge rusher. I think that their first pick should go with edge rusher. And then their second pick, they likely should go with cornerback, probably with someone like Trent McDuffie out of Washington. The Chargers are up next. This should be offensive. This should be left or right tackle, whichever one you want to address. And you're going to go with Trevor Penning. He was in my Senior Bowl. Everything you want to know about him is in my Senior Bowl video that has done very well, which I thank you guys for. The Saints at 18. I think that this is receiver, or they go with quarterback. Now, do I think that receiver should be a way more important position for them right now? It could be. But are you sure you want to just leave your quarter? They're creating cap space, so if they bring back Jameson Williams, they would not need quarterback. But if they do bring back Jameson Williams, they wouldn't need quarterback. But if they don't, I think that you probably are going to look for I think that they could look for quarterback in the draft. But the receivers on the board right now are just too good to pass up. And I would go with Treylon Burks. The Eagles are back up. This is safety or interior offensive lineman, and or this could be linebacker. And I've taken offensive interior lineman for them, so I'm gonna take linebacker this time. And would it be Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd? I think that Devin Lloyd is linebacker 1. He's got better size. But Nakobe Dean also was a leader at Georgia, captain, and he can fly around the field. So, but I that's why I think he'll be taken. He might be taken before Devin Lloyd, even though they're gonna be, I think, first round picks. The Steelers, this is an easy pick. Quarterback Big Ben retired. With the Patriots at 21, this is whichever position you want to address first, cornerback or linebacker. Dante Hightower's getting older, and you just traded away Stephon Gilmore, and you might have to tag J.C. Jackson, or you're not going to sign them. So I think that they should probably go with cornerback here in Roger McCreary or Andre Booth. And you can take either one. The Raiders, I'll keep on saying, and I'll say it again, interior offensive lineman, interior defensive lineman, whichever one you want. And they kind of have the pick here of Deontay Wyatt, Jordan Davis, and then Kenyon Green and Zion Johnson. I think that Zion Johnson might go ahead of Kenyon Green just because of his flexibility. He can play almost every single possession on the offensive line, which is insane. Or you could go with any of your interior defensive linemen, the defensive line here. So they have the picking here, but I think that they should probably go with interior defensive line. They got Alex Leatherwood last year, even though he's kind of bad. The Raiders, they could be committed to offensive line. I don't know. Their whole new situation over there. They got a new coach. But I think that they should probably go with eeny, meeny, miny, mo here, I guess. But I'll go with Deontay Wyatt. I haven't mocked Deontay Wyatt too high, or Devontae Wyatt too high in these mock drafts, so I'll have him go ahead. The Cardinals, this is just the next best cornerback or edge rusher. And I would see them taking cornerback. I was mocking them cornerback last year too. But we'll go with Roger McCreary. The Cowboys, this is either edge, possibly linebacker with a linebacker next to Leighton Vander Esch and Micah Parsons. But I think that they could go with edge here with someone like Boye Mafe could go in the first round. But I think George Karlaftis is still a first-round pick out of Purdue, and we'll take him there. The Buffalo Bills, I'm gonna go with something similar to what I think that they should, if receivers available here, which I haven't been picking receivers as high as or as much as I used to. I picked receivers like really high, even guys like Jahan Dotson and George Pickens went in the first round. But I think that with what Daniel Jeremiah would say, or what Daniel Jeremiah put, he mocked them with receiver as well. And if you have the receivers available, man. But Jameson Williams on that offense would be incredibly scary. He runs like around a 4.3. And if you get somebody like him in there with Josh Allen and his arm strength, next to Stephon Diggs, that's a scary offense if you can get him back on the field somewhat quickly. Tennessee Titans, I see them going linebacker. Devin Lloyd, I've mocked them linebacker for a while. The Buccaneers, Chris Godwin is leaving, or he might leave with his ACL injury. So for me, this is receiver. And you're also missing Tom Brady. So they could choose quarterback if they want to, or they could trade. But I'm going to go with the best receiver available, and in this situation, it's Drake London. The Green Bay Packers, I've seen them going with edge, and I'm going to stick with that. Someone like Boye Mafe could sneak into the late first round, something like a Peyton Turner almost, about how he rose up boards last year. The Dolphins, I think that they should go with the best receiver available. Their offense is incredibly, or the Mike McDaniel's offense is incredibly focused and surrounded around using receivers, and someone like Chris Olave could be taken, or someone like Jahan Dotson. But for that offense specifically, I'd probably go with someone more like Chris Olave. The Chiefs, I feel like they need a receiver 3 more than anything. You have Tyreek Hill, who is getting older. You have McCole Hardman, who is still having some problems. He's having a little bit of drop issues. But Jahan Dotson, boom. The Bengals, this is offensive lineman. The best offensive lineman available. Or offensive tackle, offensive lineman available, whichever one you want. If they want to go guard, if they want to go tackle. But I think that tackle in this situation is more important. If they don't address offensive tackle in free agency, then they would go guard. The Lions at 32, they could go with receiver. They could go with the best quarterback. I think they're in best player available situation, and maybe someone like Jackson Hill could go in the first round. Someone like, if they want to go with interior offensive lineman, which I don't think they need. But I would probably go with either safety, receiver, or linebacker. And the receivers kind of got taken, and they're up. They're up pretty soon in the second. They're up pretty early in the second round, if I'm not mistaken. So I'll go with someone like Jackson Hill to finish this one off. This one's a little quicker. Didn't want to get too repetitive. Didn't want to keep on repeating myself, which I seem to have a habit to do. So I will check in with you on my next video. NFL news has been slowing down recently, so I'll get maybe a combine video out there. So thank you for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.